and welcome to episode 57 of KnitScents. My name is Jan, and you can find me as Jan Ellen RN on Ravelry and on Instagram. You can also find me as KnitScents on Instagram. We do have a KnitScents forum group, or a KnitScents group, on Facebook. So I hope you'll come and join us there. And we also have a KnitScents forum on Ravelry where we have a knit along going on, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So I hope you will come and join us there. Oh, so let's see. Today is Saturday, August 10th. And let's see. It's been relatively quiet. I know in the last episode I had been talking about I hadn't really made too much progress, which I didn't make too much progress this week either, but it's getting better. I had developed trigger finger, and my dog is now knocking into the lights. You know, for someone who didn't make progress, I gotta say, there is so much junk on this table. Between that and my kludgy setup here, it's going to be a miracle if something doesn't hit the deck. Okay, last week it was the cat, now it's the dog running around. Okay, anyway, so it was really painful to knit, especially spinning. It didn't stop me, I did it anyway, but the pain was getting really bad. So I did go last week and I got those injections that I said there is no way I'm going to get. Well, I did. And I have to say, it was worth it. It hurt, not gonna lie, it hurt, but the pain in the thumbs is really like almost, I'd say it's 90% better. They're still clicking, which is annoying as heck, but the pain is much better. So I've been able to do a lot more once the swelling and the soreness and all of that good jazz from the injections went down. So I have made progress, but it's been mostly in the last few days once my fingers healed up a little bit. So that's kind of what's been going on here. Hopefully you took a look at my vlog from, again with the I'm going to have to cut every one of these out. It's driving me crazy. At the vlog I put up from last Sunday, I went to Long Island Yarn and Farm and we did a little vlogging from there. So if you haven't taken a look at that, I will try to link it down below. I know there's some way to put it up in the corner. I'm going to try to figure that out. If you notice, in one of these two corners, there's a little red button. I was able to figure out how to put that little red button somewhere, either, gosh, here, over here, or over here. There's a little red button for you to hit subscribe to my channel. And if you hit that bell and ring that notification bell, you will get an email or you'll be notified every time I upload an episode. So I would really appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. That would be great. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, leave me comments below. It's a great way to interact. It's a great way to build a community. So I'd really love hearing your feedback. So leave some comments below. I'd love to hear from you. This week, I have some knitting. I have some spinning. Very little stash enhancement. Actually, it's not stash. Okay, it's not stash. A little enhancement. I have a future project. I will show you what I teased you in the farm episode, what I picked up as prizes for our knit along. So I do have those, and I will show you what I got for the knit along prizes. And I also do have a fragrance review because in the last episode I talked about one particular fragrance that I thought was really great for layering, and I said I would talk about the fragrance that I layered it with. So that's going to be our scent for this week. So that's what's on tap. Let's jump into the knitting, and I'm going to show you, let me just make sure that this lid is on, because like I said, there is so much on this table right now. If something spills, we're done, we're finished. There's one project that I worked on the most this week. In fact, it is almost finished. And that is my Tilly sweater. And I did bring the booklet down, the directions, so I can show you a picture of it. That's Tilly. Okay. And this is a pattern by This.Bird.Knits. Her name is Annie Haas, Haas. So it's Tilly by Annie Haas. All right, that's the pattern. And I finished the body of the sweater. Last night I bound it off. So here we go. Let me stand up because I actually haven't even held this up to myself. Yeah, squeaky chair. Okay, let's see if we can stay in focus here. Here's my sweater. Now, it's supposed to have a good amount of ease on it. You can see, let me grab the, whoa, we knew something was gonna go down. That it is an oversized sweater. And if you look at the picture on the back, let's try not to give away too much of the secret sauce. There we go. You can see it's an oversized sweater, as most of mine end up being anyway. And I'm actually making the smallest size. This is the extra small. So there we go. And oh gosh, I'm gonna have to stand up on a chair. This is great. So you can see it's supposed to be, I guess, cropped, but on me, because like I have no trunk, I have no body. This is where it comes to me, which is perfect. That's like a perfect length for me. So I'm going to show you the ribbing. It's a little bit of an unusual ribbing. It's kind of a half twisted rib. I don't know how well you can see it if the light is washing it out. Let's see. But it's a very open rib. It's not a tight rib at all. It's actually very loose. You can see the whole bottom of the sweater is loose. Here's the back. I'm really, really happy with the way that this came out. I think I'm going to be very happy with the fit. I like to wear things, particularly summer sweaters, loose. I will say I didn't do a gauge swatch. There we go, you know, typical. I think I'm going to have a little bit more ease in this than it's called for, but that's okay because I'm probably going to wear this with something underneath it anyway. So the body of the sweater is done. There are no sleeves on it. Let me grab that pattern again. There's no sleeves on the pattern. Let's see if I can get this to focus. Yeah, let's see. It's actually, I don't even want to say raglan. It's really not. It's just kind of like what you knit up to where you separate for the body. That forms the sleeve. So all I have to do is pick up, well, all it tells you to do is pick up, because you can see where it has like a little bit of a sleeve. Let's see. Hold this up. You can see where the sleeve is actually already sort of there. That little bit of sleeve that you see on in the picture is already there. It's on a holder. And all they want you to do is pick up your stitches. You have them on a holder. Pick up from where you cast on down here. Pick up, I think it was 8 stitches. Let's see, get that to focus. Pick up 8 stitches, knit 1 round, and then do an I-cord bind off. Now, here's where my FOFO, which as we know is fear of finished objects, this is where it comes in. This whole thing shouldn't take me an hour to finish this sweater at this point. You're talking about putting, I don't know, what was it, 70 something stitches, whatever it is. It's all on waste yarn, putting it back on the needle, picking up 8 stitches, knitting around, and doing an I-cord bind off. Not a big deal. This is where I run into the trouble, and this is why things get left. Now let me line this up. Okay. right here is where I picked up the stitches. And you can see on both sides this gap, right? One's there, one's here, and one's here. And that drives me crazy. I tried when I did the cast on, I tried everything I could think of not to have those gaps there or to avoid those gaps. And I don't know literally any way to make it go away is what I'm getting at here. This is my biggest issue with sweaters. When I put sleeves on a holder and I come back, pick them up, pick up underneath, there's always holes. So I did take Knit Stars 3.0 this last fall. 4.0 is coming up. And let me just tell you about Knit Stars. It's an online summit, really, with anywhere from 8 to 10 different instructors that will walk you through their various techniques or what they excel at. I've really enjoyed it. The reason I'm bringing it up is because last fall, Knit Stars 3.0, there was a class done by Arne and Carlos. And Arne had given us a technique. It was actually doing mittens, but it's exactly the same thing. He was showing how to avoid, when you do an afterthought thumb, how to avoid getting holes. Or when you have essentially what he's saying is you're going to have the hole, here's a way to get rid of it. So I am going to try that technique. When I pick up stitches, I'm going to actually pick up extra stitches. Now, in the past, when I've done that, it has not gotten rid of the hole. This is a stretched out stitch, essentially, and I don't know how to make it go away. So probably later on tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to finish this sweater. And worst case scenario, if I have to sew up the holes, I'll sew up the holes. But and like I said, there's nothing left to do here other than pick it up, knit around, I-cord bind off 2 sides, and this is finished, ready to be blocked and worn. But I'm dreading it because I know this whole situation is going to frustrate me. And this is the other one. You can see right away where the hole is. And I guess what bugs me is, does this happen to everybody, or is this just something I'm doing wrong? Because I'm putting the stitches on the holder, I'm casting on the way the pattern suggests to cast on the 8 stitches and going about my business doing the body, but I cannot avoid the holes. And it's not just this sweater, it's almost every sweater I knit this way. So if you have any ideas on how either to avoid the holes or how to get rid of those holes when you do a sweater from the top down, please let me know in the comments section below, because any and all advice will be welcomed and probably tried. But that's the situation with my Tilly. It is almost finished. I'm really, really happy with the way it came out, except for the holes. So we'll see, hopefully in the next episode, if I've made the holes go away. So once I got use of my thumbs back, that was pretty much what I focused on. I knit this on size 9 needles. I will be doing the sleeves. Come on. Gosh, I hope I'm not pulling this from something. Jeez Louise. Okay. I knit this on size 9 by Lick Needles, which I'm really happy with. This was a semi-slippery yarn, so I really think these needles, these were a pleasure to work with this particular yarn. Again, I used size 9. I didn't gauge swatch. And I think I showed last week the yarn that I'm using. It's not a yarn I'm familiar with. It's Navia Silk Eel. Let's see. Thought if we put my hand that way. There we go. And this is in color 601, white. And they just call it white. And this is, I know it's 75% wool and 25% silk. And just as a note, I really did enjoy using this yarn, and I think it's not even that it's not skin soft now. It is, it's just a little, it almost has a linen-y texture to it, even though it's wool and silk. But from the sample in the store, you can tell this is going to soften up very, very nicely. I did go into the ply on the last episode that it is kind of loosely plied. So what I would suggest if you do use this yarn, I used a braided join for joining my skeins together, because I will do anything to avoid weaving in any extra ends. So, so that is my Tilly. It is riding around in my Whimzee Stitches llama tote bag, which I love to pieces. So we have that. I don't even know if I made any progress on this. If I did, it was minimal, but I figured I would bring it down and show it again. We're gonna try again, a spoiler alert, but again, this is the Perfect Blend. It's a mystery knit along from Casapinka. So I'm gonna put up a spoiler alert because I think I learned how to work the graphics. So we're gonna do the jazz hands. I'm gonna remember this time. But I'm on clue 1, and I think clue 4 or 5 has already been out. So I can't imagine how many people this is spoiling, because I didn't get very far on it. And I don't even think I got very far from what I showed. No, actually I didn't. If I knit a row, it was a lot. But this is my Perfect Blend. That's all I have done. I know it's sad, but I do want to finish this because I've seen a lot of the, I don't want to say finished objects because the last clue hasn't come out yet, but a lot of the people who have kept up with the knit along and actually made progress on theirs. And there are some very interesting stitch patterns in this. I know I did see an Indian cross stitch somewhere along the way. I think there are some cables in here. I'm enjoying the colors. I really think this was a kit that was made by Emma's Yarn. And I don't even want to make this up. My local yarn store got kits from Emma's Yarn. I don't think they were exclusive to my local yarn store. I believe Emma's Yarn has the kits available, or had the kits available, so you can check out. I will link her website below to see if she has the colors kits still available, if anyone is interested in making this. I do know there are other yarn companies that made kits for it. I think Miss Babs was one of them. But again, I like this. It's neutral, but it's got color in it. So didn't make too much progress on it, but that's the other WIP that I am whipping on for now. So that's sort of an active WIP. And then there's my pathetic socks, which have also going no place fast, but it's been my doctor's office take along knitting. I think, if I remember from the last time I measured, I am almost up to the toe. Here's the cuff. I did my fish lips kiss heel, which is my standard heel. Although I think on my next pair of socks, I think I may go back to an Afterthought heel. Only because I haven't done it in a long time, and I want to go back and make sure, do a true Afterthought heel, which I had done once or twice before, and I actually thought it came out better than the Afterthought heel, the pre-Afterthought heel where you put the waist yarn in. That left me with gaps, little holes in the heels that I had to sew up, whereas when I did it, and I cannot, if I find the tutorial that I followed online for how to do a true Afterthought heel, that tutorial did it in a way where there were no gaps at all. It came out perfectly. So I think my next pair of socks, I'm going to try doing a true Afterthought heel. But again, I am almost down to the toe. Yes, this is my first sock. It is still traveling around with me. 1 or 2 rows get done here and there. I'd like to finish them because fall is coming soon. Bring on the cold weather. I can't take it anymore. Although I will say it has cooled off quite a bit around here. We've had some hefty storms. I have a tree down, but it's cooled off. It's not as brutal as it was for the beginning of the end of July. It was just horrible. So it has cooled off, which is making me have some hope that we will have a cool fall and not an Indian summer, which probably will drive me straight up the wall. So that's it. That's it for the knitting. That's all I've gotten done. I was out of commission pretty much for, I'm going to say, about 5 days. Between how bad the pain had gotten in my thumbs, and then when I got the injections, I had to wait like another day or so. I don't want to get into, I don't know how squeamish people are, so I'm not gonna get graphic on here, other than to say that it wasn't so much the injection that grossed me out. It was kind of like the way my thumb handled it. Let's put it that way, so we're not getting too detailed. So we had to let that settle down a little bit before I could get back into the swing of things. So that was another 2 days. So we didn't make too much progress, but I did make some spinning progress. So let's go on to spinning. I know I had done a review of the wheel, the Daedalus Starling Mini that I purchased. And again, if you're interested in looking at that, I will link that review down below. I am really, really enjoying this wheel. I can spin anywhere now. It is quiet, it is efficient, it spins beautifully. So I have been enjoying it. But again, the spinning took a little bit longer to get back because of the way you have to really grip, you know, when you're drafting. And that put a little bit of stress on my fingers. So it took a little bit longer for that to get back. But I couldn't wait, so I did. I think I showed this bobbin last week. This is the first half of the braid that I'm spinning. Now, I know it was, let me see if I have the bag. I do. It is an Into the World fiber deep stash. This is, the colorway is Butterfly Effect. It is from the Luxe Club from October 2014. It's been hanging around a while. It's 80-10-10, superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. And I decided, because my default has always been to chain ply and keep the colors together, and I didn't want to do that. I want to go outside my spinning box. That's how I want to keep my mojo going, by trying and experimenting. So what I did was, I guess you'd call it a fractal spin, but I think the next braid that I do, I'm going to do even more of a fractal spin, because all I did with this one was I divided the braid in half. This bobbin is the first half spun beginning to end. What I worked on now is the second bobbin, and I'm going to show it to you on the wheel. And what I did with this one was I took the second braid, the second half of the braid, and I split that in half and then spun that end to end to end to end. So I believe I'm done. I know it doesn't look like it because this broke off. This is what I have left to spin. But I did finish the first half of the second half, and I'm on the second half of the second half. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making some sense here. So this is what I have left, and then once I'm finished, I will ply the two together. I'm thinking this will come to, let's see, probably either a heavy fingering, maybe a sport weight when it's plied. I'm not sure how much this is going to plump up, so we'll have to see on that one. But I can say that I am very, very, very happy with this wheel. I'd like to know why it's winding on when I'm turning the wheel the wrong way. All right, let's put this down before I mess it up more. So that's been my spinning progress, and I think, oddly enough, the reason that I've been doing more spinning is because I find that I can now spin pretty much anywhere, as opposed to being stuck wherever my traditional wheels are. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my wheels. I love my treadle wheels. I would love to get back to my wheels, but it's been great that I can spin anywhere I want to spin. So to that end, I'm going to move on into enhancement. Let's just call it, well, stash enhancement, but there's no stash. I didn't buy stash. So I added two things, none of which is yarn. And I'm going to go into the first thing, which has to do with the wheel. I did purchase a Zuka case for it. Now, if you're not familiar, I know a lot of people use these for their Hansen mini spinners, whatever mini spinners they have. I know this is a popular bag. It's kind of bulky and whatever, so I'm gonna lift it up and just sort of show it to you. Okay, it's got wheels in the back, so it's really, really portable. The wheel just goes, let me just show you the front and I'll, oh God, there we go, okay. And then I'm gonna put this down before I break my back and the wheel. Ooh. Ooh. There's a cushion and a seat. The wheel, the bag does double as a seat that you can sit on. In fact, it comes with a seat cushion. Well, you can purchase a seat cushion, this one came with it, that you can sit on. It has a handle, so you can wheel this around with you, as opposed to lifting it like I tried to. The one issue I had, and what I couldn't figure out, was how do you secure the wheel in the bag? Because if you saw that inside of the bag is just this big loose area. And you know, if you're going locally or you're just wheeling it in and out to your car or whatever, you know, maybe you could just throw it in there and pad it with some fiber. It's not TSA approved for carry-on, so I would not want to leave my wheel loose flying in there. So we had to come up with some way to secure the wheel inside the bag. And I looked on Ravelry at different ways people were doing it, and I ended up going to Target looking for some kind of like Tupperware thing that the wheel would fit into. And my husband's like, you know what, because he thinks outside the box. And normally it like kind of almost makes me crazy, because he'll think of things that you think are impossible and you're like, oh God, do I have to waste my time going through this? And 9 times out of 10, he's right. So I don't know why I frustrate myself and don't just go along and listen. Anyway, I'm like, let's look in the, you know, where the bins are, where the Tupperware is, where all this stuff is. And he's like, why don't we go over to where school supplies are? I think I have an idea. And I'm like, school supplies? Oh, I don't want a backpack, whatever. I should just listen. I should just listen, because what he came up with was genius, and I'm going to show you. Now, I don't know if this will work with a Hansen mini spinner or any other size spinner. I think it probably would, only because this just fits into the bag perfectly, like literally. If it was any bigger, it would not fit. If it was any smaller, it would knock around. So I'm thinking that this would probably work for almost any e-spinner that fits in a Zuka bag, or that you keep in a Zuka bag. So here's what we got. We went, this was like $3 a piece. These are called cubby bins. And what they are, if you don't, you know, remember from when your kids were in preschool or kindergarten. When my kids were in kindergarten, we had to get these cubby bins. And what they are used for is, you know, when you in kindergarten or whatnot, every kid has a cubby. And it's literally like this little table with, well, I don't want to say table, but it's like table height thing with cutouts in it. And it's usually wood, and it just has a wood, you know, the holes in it. And what the teachers have the kids do is buy these cubby bins, which are made to fit exactly into those cubbies, so that the kids can go and they're not pulling out little pieces of junk. They put everything in their cubby, so when they go to do whatever project they're doing or whatever, they pull out their cubby bin, take it to their table or their desk, and they have all their stuff with them. Well, as it would turn out, as luck would have it, they serve more than one purpose. The wheel fits perfectly into the cubby bin. Perfectly, like perfectly into the cubby bin, except for the top, right? Doesn't fit in the top. Now the bag has plenty of room up and down, but I didn't feel comfortable just leaving it in here like this because there's so much space on the top of the bag. Obviously it can fly out. So what did my husband say? Get another cubby, put it over the top, take 2 of these little bungee cords, slide them over. There's 1, there's 2. Come on, get on there. And the wheel is secured in here. Like literally secured in here. It's not going anywhere. And this entire thing slides perfectly right into the Zuka bag. Now you can leave it because again, if it goes up and down or whatever, the wheel is contained in here. Personally, if I were flying with it or if I were really traveling somewhere with it, I would pad it with fiber. I'd pack fiber around in the top cubby so that there really was, if it did hit anything on the inside, it was very well protected. But that would be inside, but there's still so much room on the top that you have room to pack your fiber, you have room to pack your cord, your battery, your bobbins, because these bobbins for this particular wheel, yet they don't have flat pack ones. And these are, and I had mentioned it before, these are large bobbins. These hold each one 8 ounces. So they're pretty bulky bobbins. These are not small, but there's plenty of room to put them on the top. You could even, you know, bungee them down if you felt like it. They're 3D printed, so they're not going to break. They're not going anywhere. So I just thought I would share that because again, like I said, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to secure the wheel in the Zuka bag. And the reason so many people love the Zuka bag for the e-spinners, any e-spinner, is because the top of the bag where the seat is. Now, if you happen to be in the airport and need a seat, you've got your own seat along with you. But really, the beauty of it is that that serves as a table to put your e-spinner on. So you don't need a table, you don't need a chair, you don't need anything. You are self-contained. You take your battery pack out, you take your wheel out, you put your little e-spinner on the top of the Zuka bag on the seat, and you're spinning away. So I did get that, and like I said, thanks to hubby for putting this all together because that is something I would never in a million years have thought of. So I just figured since it is back to school time, if any of you have a Zuka bag and you're looking for ways to secure your mini spinner or e-spinner in the bag, check out and see if those cubby containers or cubby bins will fit your e-spinner, because if they do, you're golden. It's a great way to go. So that was one thing. The other thing I did get was from Whimzee Stitches. He had a few of his bags on sale after SSK, and as if I hadn't done enough damage there, I love his bags. So I did get this one with the fleur-de-lis. I believe he calls this one Mardi Gras. Let me see if the name of the pattern is on here. a fleur-de-lis, clear vinyl draw. This is the medium size bag. I don't know if I've seen the clear in large. I know I have another one of his clears. I want to say he does make them in the large size. I want to say, because I know I have another one. I know he makes a smaller size. This is medium. I believe he also does make large. I didn't see any in the large, but this is the colorful fleur-de-lis, and it really is. I just thought the pattern was so pretty and it was so colorful, and I do love me some clear bags. And now that Chicken Boots is not in business anymore, well, you got to do what you got to do. So I did get this one. So this came this week. So that was the other acquisition I made. Other than that, I have been very well behaved for the most part. Okay, upcoming projects. Once that sweater is finished, and I know I mentioned this in the SSK haul video, I had actually seen somebody wearing a Tanya made out of just this beautiful color, and when I found out it was 50-50 cotton, I was all over it. So I did buy it. I know I showed these skeins before. It's by Teeny Button Studios. So I'll just show it again. This is not new. I had this from SSK. It's part of my Guilt haul. It's Teeny Button Studios Breezy Fingering. This is called, in the colorway, the Owlry. And this is 50% merino, 50% cotton. And for me, that's pretty good, except like in the dead of winter, because I'm not one for wearing very heavy sweaters unless it's freezing outside, in which case, you know, I'd have a long sleeve shirt underneath. So this will get me through the fall, and starting early in spring, probably take it out again. So I cannot wait to cast this on. I've been wanting to do a Tanya for a long time. In fact, I've had yarn for it, which is wool. So if I enjoy knitting it, I might actually do one in 100% wool and wear that when it's really cold outside. But I thought that the 50 cotton, 50 wool would get a lot of wear. So that's an up and coming project. There was something else. I ordered a set of ChowGoo, came out with 9-inch needles. Now I know a lot of us have tried 9-inch sock needles. I'm not a fan of them. For me, particularly with my fingers at the time, it was very difficult to manipulate on the very tiny tips. ChowGoo has come out with, I think they're called twist shorties, something to that effect. But this set is in larger sizes. This comes, because I've seen short needles before in sets, in interchangeable sets. They're usually size 0s or double, triple 0s to size 2, something like that. This is size 4 to size 8. And there are 2 sets of tips in each set. It comes with a 2-inch tip and a 3-inch tip. So I'm very, very curious to try those. So I am expecting those to come sometime, I hope during the week. And when I do get those, I will put up a review of those needles. That's what I wanted to mention. So hopefully I will be able to do that at some point during the week and review those needles and let you know what I think. The reason I got them was for sleeves. I do not like doing sleeves. I'm a double point girl. My problem with double points is sometimes there are so many stitches on the sleeves that if you need to use those really long double points, and that gets annoying. I've tried 2 circulars. Sometimes that works better for me. Magic loop, somehow I get a ladder. I don't know why. I've done magic loop on my socks. I've done it, never ever have a problem. Somehow with sleeves, it always causes a problem. So I really want to try these 9-inch needles for sleeves. And that's why the larger size is sizes 4 to 8. So that's upcoming as well. And the other upcoming thing is Rhinebeck. I am planning on going. I have booked my hotel last year, so fingers crossed I will make it there. So we can talk about that also in a future upcoming episode. The other thing I did want to show and talk about, we have a knit along going on the KnitScents podcast forum on Ravelry. And I really do hope that you'll come join the group and join in the knit along. It's a WIP along. So if you have any project that you're currently working on, will qualify. I don't care if you cast it on and then call it a WIP, that's fine. Really the only rule is you have to be a member of the group to participate in the drawings. So you have to join the group. That's it. There's going to be 2 drawings, but we have right now, I think there are 4 people. So your odds are pretty good. But I'd like to really get some participation going. So I think I'm going to leave this open through August, and I can't change the thread now, but you'll see it's August Whip Along, I think, is the name of the thread. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to leave it from August through the end of September. So if you are thinking of casting on a sweater, cast it on and then say it's a WIP. I'm fine with that. That's good. If you're looking to cast on something for Rhinebeck, if you have any WIP, if you're working on a pair of socks, a hat, mittens, it doesn't have to be anything in particular. What I'm going to do is do 2 drawings. One I will do around August 31st, September 1st, somewhere in there, for everyone who has posted an in-progress pic on that forum. So if you just post a pic of your progress, of your WIP in progress, and we will draw. I can't talk. We will draw for a prize for that. And I'm going to show you, because I did get 2 things from Long Island Yarn and Farm when I was there last weekend. So what we're going to draw for your in-progress picture, which the drawing will be, as I said, the last day, first day of September, somewhere in there, is her Shepherdess salve, which I have, and I can totally attest to. It is wonderful. Now, I know in the podcast, in the episode where I went to the farm, I had talked about Tabitha and the work that she does on the farm is just absolutely an incredible amount of work. And she is a true shepherdess. She cares for these animals. She raises these animals. She breeds these animals. She shears these animals. So I think having Shepherdess salve is kind of important to her. This is a really thickish consistency. It is wonderful for very, very dry skin, dry patches. I got this in the honey almond scent because I felt that was the most neutral. There were 3. One was called Petals, and it was a very florally. So I didn't know, that one was going to go over too big. And the other one was a coconut. I didn't know if everybody would like coconut. So the honey almond was basically a neutral almondy smell. So that's the one I chose. And this contains lanolin, shea butter, jojoba oil, and essential oils. And it is 100% natural. Lanolin salve carries emollient and healing properties deep into dry, cracked, or damaged skin, best kept cool. Okay, so that's what we're going to draw for your in-progress pick. So remember to go to the thread that says August Whip Along, even though we're going to go through September 30th with it. So you have until the end of August to join the group and post a photo of your work in progress, so still on the needles. Then I'm going to open up another thread for our KAL FOs. That one's going to be a no chatter thread because that'll make it easier for me. This one I'll just put everyone on a spreadsheet and use a random number generator to pick for that prize. The finished object thread will make that a no chatter thread. That's where you're going to post your pictures of your finished object, your WIP finished. And what I chose for that, and it was tough because her yarns are just really, really beautiful. They're not like any other yarns that I've seen on the market. They're very unique to her. They each come with a label. Sometimes the name of the sheep is actually on there. Otherwise it says American breed. All of the wool that is used in her yarns is either from her animals or from animals that she has sheared. So she has some contact with the yarn that she sells. So without any more ado, I picked a neutral color. This is in her sport weight. Hope it's showing up. There we go. And this is number 22 of 95. So there are only 95 skeins produced from this particular fleece. It is American raised and spun. The color is called White Picket Fence. It is sport weight. It's 200 yards, 3.5 ounces, 99 grams. This is 60% alpaca, 20% silk, and 20% wool, which is merino wool. It is so squishy and bouncy. Oh my goodness, you just want to hug this. But in addition to this, because I didn't want to give a skein and like, okay, what do I do with this? So Tabitha has patterns that she develops with her, and this is actually a local designer. Her name is Lisa Hoffman, and she has patterns that use her yarn, that are designed with her yarn in mind, and this calls for one skein of Long Island Livestock Sport, which is this, and the name of the pattern is West Hampton Dunes, and that is a picture of the cowl. So I hope you can see it there. And it's just a really, really beautiful, sort of a lacy, like a scalloped lacy cowl. Let's see if I can, I don't want to give away the chart. So, well, anyway, it's West Hampton Dunes, and you will get a copy of the pattern with the skein of yarn. So that will be our prize for our finished objects. So the winner of that contest will get both the pattern and the skein of yarn from Tabitha. So that's what I got last week at the farm for the contest. Again, I hope you will join us in the knit along. Any WIP is fine. Just come and join. It's fun to have knit together. It's that season, it's that time of year where we're all thinking about what we want to knit for fall, finishing objects, getting that holiday knitting started. So again, right now, I think there's 4 people that have posted pictures, so your chances are looking pretty good. So I hope you'll come and join us, and let's have fun with this cowl. So that's pretty much all I have for the knitting, the spinning, the stash, the cowl, all of the knit news. So let's move on to scents. I had spoken in the last episode about Juliet Has a Gun, Not a Perfume. The name of the brand is Juliet Has a Gun. The fragrance is called Not a Perfume. I use it as a layering fragrance. I also do wear it alone. But the one that I layered it with last time, and I said I would talk about it this time, is another niche fragrance, meaning it's not like a large designer brand, and it is called Byredo. It is by Byredo. Let's see if we can, let's get this to focus. There we go. Okay. Oops. Okay. It's Byredo, and the name of the fragrance is called Gypsy Water. And I'm going to read you, this was a new to me house. I had never heard of them before. They're not popular. I don't want to say they're not popular. They're not in every single, you're not going to find it all over the place. Some stores carry it, mostly online. I know Nordstrom has it online. I believe Neiman Marcus has it online. I think even Sephora may have it online. A lot of stores do carry it, but online only. They do have several stores, Byredo stores, located throughout the country. The one here, the nearest one to me, is the one in Manhattan. I haven't been in it. Might have happened to send the hubby in there once or twice, pick something up. But I'm going to read you about the house of Byredo, and then I'm going to talk to you about Gypsy Water. And I have to say, it wasn't a fragrance I fell in love with at first whiff. I'm obsessed with it now. I wear it all the time, but it took me a little while to really appreciate it. So let me just tell you about the house of Byredo. It was, and I'm reading from my iPad, so if I'm looking this way, I'm just reading because I don't write down notes. Anyway, it was founded in 2006 by Ben Gorham. Ben began to be intrigued by scent and memory, and that's really his connection, is how scent evolves and evokes memories. After traveling to his mother's hometown in India, where he was stirred by aromas of spices and incense. Inspired by this trip, Byredo's scented candles and perfumes have been developed with an understated approach using simple composition of the highest quality raw materials. And then it gives a little bit of a blurb about Ben Gorham himself. He grew up in Toronto, New York, and Stockholm, and I believe that he is now based in Stockholm, Sweden, and that's where the company is based, in Sweden. So let me talk to you about Gypsy Water. Gypsy Water, I'm going to read the notes, the accords, the main accords to you from Fragrantica. It's considered a woody, aromatic, balsamic, fresh, spicy, powdery, citrus. So all of those accords are in there. And I'm going to go back and let me read you, just want to pull up their description of the notes. Gypsy Water is an ode to the beauty of Romany culture, its unique customs, intimate beliefs, and distinguished way of living. The scent wakens a dream of a colorful lifestyle made of innate nomadism. Woody notes of pine needle and sandalwood associated to intense amber and fresh citrus evoke the fever of gypsy nights spent in the forest. And I think you have to understand, and I kind of like, you know, my husband I got samples and I sprayed it, and that's kind of been what I've been learning along my fragrance journey now, is to really appreciate any fragrance. I think you have to understand the fragrance and what it's trying to accomplish. And when I read this and began to really appreciate what he was trying to accomplish with this fragrance and with the notes of this fragrance, it took on a different meaning to me, and all of a sudden I appreciated it and I could really enjoy the fragrance. So the top notes of this fragrance are bergamot, juniper berries, lemon, and pepper. The heart, which is the middle notes, are incense, orris, and pine needle. And the base notes are amber, sandalwood, and vanilla. And I think because of the amber and sandalwood, that's why it works so well with the Juliet Has a Gun, which, if you remember, is just one single synthetic note. And now I don't even remember what it was, but it enhances it. And that's why they mix together so well. It's a mysterious fragrance. I wouldn't consider it a sweet fragrance. I wouldn't consider it a very floral. I do get the pine. I do get I get the sandalwood. I get the amber in it. There is a little bit of a citrus note. I think when you first spray it, you get a little bit of the lemon, the juniper berries. It does have a very foresty, woody type of notes to it, of scent. It leans that way. Now, I will say that almost all of Byredo fragrances are considered unisex. I would not necessarily classify myself. I wouldn't say all of them are unisex. This one, yeah, I think it is. I definitely think it is. I could absolutely see this on a man. I think it would be a great men's fragrance. I think it could be appreciated by men, by women. It's just a very unique fragrance. So if that's something that you're looking for, and you're looking for something that is not going to smell like everyone else is wearing, that has a bit of a mystery to it, because it is a bit of a mysterious scent. It is layered. It is a little bit more complex than your average, you know, floral, sweet, syrupy, fruity fragrance. This one is different. And I would say Gypsy Water kind of nails it. It's a great name to suit the fragrance. So I will highly recommend, if you are looking for something new. I believe you can go on their website. You may be able to get a sample from there. I know Barney's, now that I heard some of the Barney stores are closing, Barney's carried Byredo, and you used to be able to get samples there. But I think if you contact Byredo, they may be able to sell you, or to send you samples. Otherwise, I know there are companies that do sell decants at a very reasonable price. You can get a little vial for a couple of dollars and try it out. I'm not sure I would say this is a safe blind buy, because it's not like, you know, if you like this, you're gonna like that. I can't compare this really to any other fragrance that I have. This one kind of stands alone. So I would definitely recommend trying it before you buy it. See if your local, you know, department store that carries it may be able to get it in, or have a sample or whatever, but it's definitely worth giving it a try if you're looking for something very unique. So that's our fragrance for the week, and that's all I have this week. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend, and I will hopefully see you when the needles come in and do a review of the ChiaoGoo shorties. I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend, a great upcoming week, and until I see you, remember to knit with sense.